Do you ever think about how we spend so much of our lives waiting? Waiting for the right time, waiting to feel confident, waiting for someone to give us a chance, waiting for an opportunity that somehow changes everything. But what if the opportunity you're waiting for is actually waiting for you? And I know that sounds a little cliche, but stay with me. Hey guys, welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Dana, and on this channel, I share thoughts, advice, and little reminders about motivation, self growth, and creating a life that feels better and more fulfilling. And if you enjoy listening, make sure to follow and subscribe for more. So, I think that a lot of us have the idea that successful people got lucky, that someone discovered them, that they were in the right place at the right time, that opportunities just magically showed up in their life. But when you really look at their stories, that's usually not what happened. They were not afraid. They sent an email. They started the business. They posted the first video. They applied for the job. They introduced themselves. They took a chance before they had any guarantee it would work. They dared. And in other words, they created opportunities for themselves. I think that so many of us are waiting for permission. Permission to start, permission to dream big, permission to take up space, permission to believe that we are capable. But this is something you have to understand. Nobody's coming to hand us permission. We have to give it to ourselves. And I know it's uncomfortable because waiting feels safer. It's easy to think if you don't start the project, it cannot fail. If you don't post that video, nobody can judge you. If you don't put yourself out there, you cannot get rejected. But then it means you can also not get the outcome you've been hoping for. You stay exactly where you are, and I think that's what fear doesn't tell us. Fear always talks about what could go wrong. It rarely talks about what could go right. What if people love your idea? What if you're actually more capable than you think? What if the thing that you're so afraid to start becomes the thing that changes your whole life? The truth is, we don't ask ourselves those questions enough. Instead, we spend so much time imagining the worst case scenarios. And meanwhile, opportunities pass by because we were too busy waiting to feel ready. So here's something I've learned. Most people don't feel ready. Think of the people you admire. They probably didn't feel ready either. The difference is they started anyway. They dared. They were nervous anyway. They doubted themselves anyway. They figured it out as they went. And honestly, that's how almost everything works. I want you to think about it. Have you ever been completely ready for a major life change? Like a new job, starting a business, creating content? Probably not. And that's because most growth happens while you're learning in real time, not before. I think social media sometimes tricks us into believing that successful people always knew exactly what they were doing. But what we are seeing is just a polished version. We are seeing chapter 20, but we didn't see chapter 1. We didn't get to see the awkward first attempts, the beginning, the mistakes, the uncertainty, the moments where nobody was paying attention. And that's important to remember. Because sometimes you're comparing your beginning to someone else's middle, and that's never a fair comparison. I also think that people underestimate how much one small action can change your whole life. We imagine opportunities as this giant, dramatic moments, but often they're just tiny. Often these opportunities can start just by sending a message, just by starting a workout, posting a video, signing up for a class. Have that conversation. I want you to understand that small actions create momentum, and momentum creates opportunities. One step leads to another, one connection leads to another, one decision leads to another. And before you know it, you are somewhere that you could have not imagined 6 months ago. And not because you got lucky, but because you started moving. That's why I always say life has a funny way of meeting people halfway. Not people who have everything figured out, but people who are willing to try, people who are willing to take the first step before they can see the entire staircase. I know how easy it is to overthink. I've done it. I've waited for perfect timing. I've waited to feel more ready, more prepared. I've waited until I felt more confident. But every time I finally took action, I realized something. The confidence I was waiting for came after I started, not before. And I think that's true for a lot of things in life. You build confidence by doing, you build courage by trying, you build opportunities by showing up, not by waiting. So, if you've been sitting on an idea, if you've been talking yourself out of something, if you've been waiting for a sign, maybe this is it. This is your reminder that you do not need to have everything figured out before you begin. You don't need to know exactly how it's going to work out. You just need to take the first step. Because the opportunity you're hoping for might not be something you find. And honestly, that's a pretty empowering thought. Because it means that your future isn't completely dependent on luck. It means you have more power than you think. So, here's what I want you to take from today's video. I want you to dare. I want you to not be afraid. Send that email. Start the project. Post your first video. Take the chance and dare. Because one small decision today can open a door you didn't even know existed. So don't wait for the opportunity and just create it. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me again today. If you enjoyed listening, make sure you follow for more. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.